original brief was that the house obviously has recently been rebuilt, completely renovated, and they wanted something that was relatively contemporary, but not too contemporary, not too clean, because it's a sort of semi-rural setting. They're really keen on the porcelain. That was specified right from the off. They'd looked at lots of different paving options and really liked the Italian porcelain. So we had that to work with originally, in the colour, which picks up the sort of colour palette from the house itself. And the flooring inside is a similar colour, similar tiles, but smaller. They really liked the consistency to it. And the other element was the reduced maintenance. It's a lot easier to keep, a lot easier to clean, and being out here again, sort of semi-rural, there's quite a lot of there's a lot of established overhanging trees. A lot of traditional stone, I think, would have greened up a lot. You would have spent a lot of time cleaning it. And also it's very in keeping with the inside of the house. The inside of the house is all very sort of clean, clean straight lines, let's say quite contemporary. Just a couple, the colour palette's quite limited. It's just white and grey with a few splashes of colour, and they wanted something that picked up on that. The client had seen the pebbles used with porcelain on a Pinterest page and really liked the look of it, and had gave me a few links to pictures that they'd seen of pebble gardens, and most of the ones that we looked at were using just a single sized pebble, but because we'd got, partly because we've got the narrow expansion gap around the edge of the porcelain against the oak, and the fact that we've got areas that were very different in size and space to fill, we've used 4 different, they're all the same Scottish pebbles, but we've used 4 different sizes. Also to fill all the gaps as well, because when you'll look at some of the pictures that are taken of gardens that just use a single size pebble, and from a distance it will look really neat, but if you get up close, there's no, if you're only using say a 70 mil pebble, it's essentially impossible to fill all the gaps between the pebbles. If you're membraning the area underneath so that you're not going to get anything growing up it, when you get up close to it you'll always see the membrane. So the idea was obviously using the smaller size pebble, it fills all the gaps in, so you get a real consistency to it, and we're then able to continue the 14 mil Scottish pebble. We're then able to continue it around the expansion gap around the outside of the paving, and along the drain, along the edge of the porcelain up against the oak as well, so that it didn't look like we were sort of making a complete switch of materials, so the two sort of flowed into each other. They also match up quite well with the silver granite that's used on the driveway out the front, because it's the same sort of colour palette. And then we also wanted to pick up some of the other materials in the house, so we've got the cedar cladding on the outside. So I suggested using the oak because that would pick up the same colour as the cedar and match up with the timber, and also obviously over time, but silvers up, and it'd give a bit, using the oak with the really sort of sharp edge porcelain gives it sort of quite a nice balance.